Thank you all very much. Let me, Chief Prophecy, will you please sit down? And, yes. And we are about to commence the interview now. So, but the showers are already pouring now. So we will either stay in the room until the easy session.
Happy interview, sir. Happy interview.
Okay, thank you all very much for coming.
Stay well and happy interview. Grace.
Oh, I didn't know that was what I was setting up. My goodness, if I planned this, it would not have come out better. You want to put on your headphone? The headphone. We just wait for them to give us the signal to commence.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. You should be hearing me now.
Yes, I am hearing you. We're waiting for the signal to commence. Are you playing the documentary before commencement, or should we go ahead? What's the plan?
You're already live, sir.
Okay. It's a great morning. Good morning. It's a great morning for us today at Leadership as we officially open the podcast studio, which is named after our founding chairman, Mr. Sam Nda Isaiah, the man of big ideas.
Sorry, sir. Yeah, it said you should hold on.
Okay. Hold on. Yes, just waiting for us. Interestingly, we checked the weather forecast.
Leadership Media Group. We are indeed Nigeria's most influential multimedia organization. Hello, I welcome you to Last Word State-of-the-Art Podcast Studio. This is another product offering from the stable of Leadership Media Group. We are located in the heart of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Nigeria. From this studio, we broadcast premium quality, digital exciting programs to the rest of the world through our daily podcasts. Follow me as I show you our world-class 21st century equipment that makes Last Word Studio one of the best in Nigeria. Here, we have the Digital Media Studio Command Center with a 10th generation workstation system with a dedicated sound and graphics card a premium 12 input 2/2 Boss mixer with Xenix mic preamps, compressors, and further mic expansion possibility with a wireless slot. Linked to the specially designed studio with 5 studio condenser microphones and pro headsets. To enable our audience a front row view of some live programs, a 4K IP camera with a smart TV makes the listening and viewing of programs seamless. Leadership Media Group. We are indeed Nigeria's most influential multimedia organization. Hello, I welcome you to Last Word State-of-the-Art Podcast Studio. This is another product offering from the stable of Leadership Media Group. We are located in the heart of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Nigeria. From this studio, we broadcast premium quality, digital exciting programs to the rest of the world through our daily podcasts. Follow me as I show you our world-class 21st century equipment that makes Last Word Studio one of the best in Nigeria. Here, we have the Digital Media Studio Command Center with a 10th generation workstation system with a dedicated sound and graphics card, a premium 12 input 2/2 Boss mixer with Xenix mic preamps, compressors, and further mic expansion possibility with a wireless slot. Linked to the specially designed studio with 5 studio condenser microphones and pro headsets. To enable our audience a front row view of some live programs, a 4K IP camera with a smart TV makes the listening and viewing of programs seamless. Leadership Media Group. We are indeed Nigeria's most influential multimedia organization.
For sustaining and supporting the great ideals that the founder, our good friend and colleague, Isaiah stood for. Let me also greatly state that the vision now being translated into reality is in conformity with the developments in the broadcast and in the media generally worldwide. Renowned newspaper powerhouses have their own podcast platforms right now, and I am proud and I'm happy that really the leadership newspapers has come out very strongly to join the team and the professionals in all other parts of the world who have established similar platforms. I am very happy. I am proud of Isaiah in both life and death. This is what it should be, that when we pass on, that our legacies are sustained and kept alive.
Thank you very much for those kind words, Engineer Dokwesi. Now, Abike, in your days as the face of Newsline, many years ago, many months ago, did you ever believe that journalism would travel this far?
Amazing, amazing. But I also want to join Chief Dokwesi in saying that, this is about legacy. Of course, we would have all wanted Sam to be here, but he's gone, but his legacy lives on because he laid a solid foundation. And I think that's a lesson for every one of us, to lay a foundation in such a way that even after you leave the surface of the earth, you don't die. So I'm proud of him. I commend him. I commend his wife, particularly for keeping her husband's big ideas still alive. And I commend you too as well, the whole of management of Leadership Newspapers. Yes, just like many years ago, we would not have thought I would have had a telephone, a mobile phone.
Right.
Just like many years ago, we would not have thought we could just punch something and it goes to the whole world. Because I would not have had Instagram or Facebook or those are the two that I recognize. Or Twitter that no, but I've said it before. Or Twitter, which I'm not using anymore and I'm not missing it. Twitter, like I said, I don't want to go into that controversy, but turn itself to a monster. There can be freedom without some measure of responsibility. But it's not a conversation I want to go into. But the key thing is, this is technology. This is the new age. And when you say freedom of expression, this is it. All over the world, they can listen to us.
Correct.
And being chairman of Diaspora Commission is important that Nigerians all over the world can communicate with their country anytime. Just like we are planning to have an online radio station by NITCOM so that we can communicate all over the world. I mean, not as big as this, we can't afford this, but we're so proud of what you have done. And again, like Chief said, it's about thinking forward.
Correct.
You know, it's about thinking ahead. And the world is changing, so I'm glad that leadership is changing as the world is changing, positively.
Thank you so much, Chief. Now, you have been in private broadcasting since the late 2000s. Ray Power actually broadcast its first signal on the 1st of January 2005. When was that?
That was in 1993.
Excellent. Now, what you have watched the evolution of both technology and the regulatory environment over these many years. How would you describe this evolution, especially in terms of evolution, in terms of changes in technology, and also the regulatory environment in which we practice today?
Well, I have been on retirement and I have tried to refrain from making comments. However, it is necessary to place on record that the Nigerian regulatory system is far behind developments, especially technological developments in the industry. We still come and think analog, when by 1993 actually the world was already going digital. Our regulatory laws, which were written during the military era, when it was normal to wake up in the morning and you hear fellow countrymen, they still remain the basis of regulation. There is the need for freedom. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has actually enshrined the freedom to communicate, the freedom to share ideas uninhibited. But
some will say that freedom comes with responsibility.
With a lot of responsibility, I will quite agree. But let me ask you, AIT's license was revoked at least 4 times.
Justifiably?
Oh, let me tell you, one of the instances was that a plane crashed in Lagos. AIT crew said this plane crashed in Lagos, and the regulatory authority came and said your license is revoked for showing video, voice, and everything to show that the plane crashed in Lagos. That was an offense. The wife of the president unfortunately passed on, and this was taken as breaking news. The license was revoked. Again, there are numbers of times where the overzealousness, the disrespect, the concentration of undue powers assumed by the regulators and the ministers in office.
But Engineer Dokwesi, you don't think that in any of the 5 times the censure was justified? Is that what you're saying?
I went to court, and each time I was told, this is our country, please withdraw the case. So we didn't get to the end. And you know the new style of the National Broadcasting Commission. They came up and they will tell you, oh, Mr. AIT, you are owing us, just like Twitter is not paying taxes.
Okay, we will come to that.
They will always find
we will come to that, Engineer Dokwesi. And I don't know whether Abike wants to say anything about professional responsibility in light of regulatory challenges that we have faced.
And so you recall that when I was in Parliament, and I know you can't forget that, that's why we quarreled. When I was in Parliament, yes, and I'm so proud today that I tried to do something about enhancing professionalism and journalism. Look, let's face it, there's no journalism anymore.
Seriously?
Yes, the profession is dead. Don't deceive ourselves. Apart from maybe television and maybe radio. For print, for all
You are saying that
I'm
in
telling
issue,
you
perhaps?
that everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is now a journalist. For you to be a journalist, there are criteria, which we find in medicine, in architecture, in pharmacy, in law. You don't have it in journalism. Why? Because there's no self-regulation. When I sponsored that bill then, the essence of that bill, yes, the essence of that bill was, number one, a journalist must always be paid salaries. Number two, a journalist must be insured. Number three is that there must be self-regulation. And I gave examples. I said, imagine someone like Chief Shego Shoba, Okosama Muka, Chief Dokwesi, John Momo, Azu are on a team. There was no social media then. But we were beginning to see the downfall of journalism. And imagine you journalists sit as a team to self-regulate. So I can come to you and say, leadership wrote something about me. I don't like it. Then you will sit down there and judge and say, okay, leadership, you were right, you're wrong. Okay, don't do that again. You see, that gives the public confidence. Now, people like Azu, by the way, Azu was the first to attack me. Which paper were you watching? Azu was the first.
I'm not letting you.
Wrote a whole back page. And you know something, and this is instructive. I'm glad it's Azu today. Every newspaper said, let us attack her. The first was Azu, the last was the late Dimba Igwe. But I stood tall. I was on your station, I was on channels, I was on television, because they understood what I was saying. The profession was going down the drain. But they used just one clause, and here we are. No. If we had had that self-regulation, journalism practice will not be on a downward spiral as that's been today. And the essence is that, you know what? I can be proud to say I'm a journalist, but not anymore. I know a lady who studied journalism abroad, came home, did internship in about 3 stations. She went back and changed her course. So here's the point I want to make.
All right.
We're all journalists. I'm proud to be. And I still want to practice that profession as a hobby. But let us bring back the dignity of journalism. Let's bring back the responsibility as journalists. Let's face it, you walk about today, you call yourself a journalist, there's no respect.
Okay.
And you know, and the issue of responsibility. And when I was there, I did it because I'm a journalist and I'm proud. But I was attacked. At the end of the day, even newspapers, hardcore newspapers became victims of what we now see as.
We are going to continue this conversation because it's a conversation that should be had. Not just only in the interest of the profession, but also in the interest of society. There are, I'm not aware that there is any true professional who does not recognize that there is the need for any self-respecting profession to be self-regulating, and that's the
Exactly.
direction in which the world
I
is
hope
going.
so.
But what we are seeing today is a far cry from that. We are actually seeing something totally different from what you
No, what
proposed
I'm
in the
saying,
past.
no,
But
what
let
I'm
me
saying
ask
is,
you,
wait,
let me
before
come
you
to
ask
you,
me,
Abike.
if we
Yes.
had done something about the past, we'll not be where we are today.
Let me-
But because of people like us took the bull by the horns, we said we can't let the profession go the drain, we became, I mean, I was under every attack, but today I can sit here and say I tried to do something.
You
but
did.
you guys said no.
You did. The
So you
conversation
see,
continues.
No, the conversation will continue. But what I'm saying is that let us look at this profession properly. We have to be responsible, and we have to self-regulate ourselves. I mean, where do people's lives have been destroyed?
No, Abike,
And there's nowhere
what
to go to.
self-regulation is different. Chief, do you want to come in here? But my thought before we go on, because I would like actually to ask you whether there are times that you wish you were not a politician but a journalist since you crossed over. But on the final word, yes, on the final word on regulation and the regulatory environment in which we find ourselves, I don't think, as I said early on, that there is any self-respecting professional who doesn't see value and respect in self-regulation. But what we have on ground in 5 media bills before the National Assembly is not self-regulation, it's licensing, and that is what the media will fight to the finish. Abike, now answer my question. Let me come to you. No, yes, of course we agree.
But if you had done what you had to do then, if the fathers of journalism had done what had to be done then, we will not be in the state we are now. That's what I'm saying.
The fathers of journalism
So-
is in the studio.
No, the father of journalism supported me then. Because television and radio were still okay. AIT, Ray Power, I went around everywhere. People were calling in.
This
and say,
conversation
well
will
done.
continue. Because now let me ask you a
But
question.
don't let the broadcast media go that way. Because now you're having online.
Well, the
anybody can have
broadcast
a
media
TV,
is almost
everybody-
dead. Yeah. Anyway,
No, what
let me ask.
no. There are many. This is the way.
No, it's true.
This is the way.
For any move they make, they get slammed. But
No.
that is anyway.
Let's
Let's
leave that one.
Abike.
But we are saying that we as journalists needs to self-regulate and be responsible. If we had done what we had to do, then we won't be here we are today. Period.
Okay. Abike, let me now come to the question that I wanted to. Now, there are times you seriously, honestly wished that you were not a politician but a journalist, that you remained squarely in the profession. Are there times like that?
No.
Can you
Like I've seen news here. So everywhere is like, and I'm angry that, yay.
Now you missed it.
See that news story.
you
oh.
will share
So-
share one of
so I really do
you
miss
share
that.
you share
I
one
really
of those
do miss
moments
that.
with us. While the program was on, one of our distinguished guests, were actually supposed to be 3 on the set this morning, joined us, and she just managed to find her way here. Well, I don't know what part of the world you may be watching this live stream on, but you're live, as I said early on AIT, and we are also streaming live on YouTube and on our Facebook platform. It's my pleasure to welcome Ms. Hanatu Musawa. She's a journalist and one of the longest running columnists for leadership. Hanatu, you are welcome.
Thank you so much,
Good.
Mr. Azu, my brother. I'm sorry, peril of the...
No, it's okay. You have
Amazing.
come in at a good time to separate Abike and I. But there's something I'd like to ask you. I mean, as a writer and a columnist, I know you started with the print platform. Are you having challenges of evolving from...
So, like I said, there must be responsibility. Let me give you one quick example. One of the most dastardly events took place in Lagos. Fire incident. It didn't trend. I saw it 1 or 2. By now, as a journalist, I would have been on that story every day, finding out what happened, looking at the victims, finding out what went wrong, why aid did not happen, why were no ambulance. Nobody is talking about that. But if it's some terrorist, doing something, immediately it's as if you are happy that bad news is there. So what I'm saying is that I still say there's no journalism in the deep sense of the word anymore. So every blogger is a journalist, no investigative journalism, and we need to. And people like you as Chief, you are in broadcast, my sister, you're a lawyer, we need to ensure the dignity of the profession comes back. So I look at it from both sides of the story. The person who is being victimized, whose life is being destroyed because of one story. Where is the victim for that person? You tell me.
Difference between bloggers...
This is what I'm saying. There's no. What's the difference? Because even you, it's so painful, doesn't it hurt you, that even hardcore newspapers now take stories of bloggers? It is a disgrace to journalism. So what I'm saying, don't let, because I'm emotional about it. This is my profession.
We all are.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm sure you are prouder to be saying you are a lawyer than a journalist.
I'm always proud to say
No, she's a lawyer. She said she's a lawyer, but she took it up at the side. But she's more of a lawyer than journalism without any form of discipline. So here's what I'm saying. Two things must happen. We, the fathers and mothers of the profession, must do everything to enhance the professionalism and dignity of journalism that will be respected. If, like I said as well, I'm sorry, I'm going back to that. If we are taking those, if we are sat at a table like this and done what we need to do almost 15 years ago, we won't be where we are today. So let's see how we can practice journalism responsibly. The world is now a global village. So no matter how much you censor or the stories will still be out there. So it's a global village. Everybody's listening to us now. And let's just practice journalism with responsibility, while we also ensure that we do not destroy people unnecessarily.
Thank you very much, Abike. Final thoughts, Hanatu?
Has happened over the years, especially with the evolution of social media, is that the lines have been blurred between professional journalism and this blogging. And at times we have to accept that there are gross irresponsibilities when it comes to blogging. Journalism in Nigeria, dignity, as Madam Abike said, has to be brought back to journalism. And one adverse effect on not just individuals, on institutions, on communities, and especially in a place like Nigeria where we're dealing with insecurity, there has to be, we have to separate the responsible information that we get in a way that it doesn't set the community back, if you know what I mean. So definitely, dignity has to be brought back into journalism. And at the same time, the government, institutions have to support journalism and not try to quell their ability to tell the story that is to express themselves exactly.
All right. I know you gave us your final word, but perhaps this will be final, because it's not every time that you get the chairman emeritus of Dark Communications to sit in the studio like this. When was the last time you did this?
I think almost about 6-7 years ago.
What was the issue at that time that you had to
Oh, in the studio? No, I think that must be about 3-4 years ago when AIT News was being stifled, manipulated, oppressed and suppressed.
By who?
By the powers that be. At that time I came out, I said I was going on a one-man protest. And I went through the embassies. We are back to the problems I raised at that time. She is very right to say, look, we have to control our journalists, the news they pass out. But I can assure you, not leadership, not Guardian, not the prominent newspapers, Punch, AIT, they don't storicate their news before the
story. And that one story is carried by 1,000 people. And what we're saying there was that social media is coming up. Traditional media do something, now everything has collapsed. So nobody can support anybody. I'm sure government will say one or two have their own story to tell. But here's the thing. Journalism, the dignity must be that we must self-regulate. And finally, final. You gave Chief final. So my own final. We can't, like you said, we can't destroy our society. Look, when I see this thing about terrorism, the terrorist is watching. He's sitting down there and he's laughing. And you are putting them on television and celebrating them. You know, if you black them out for a while, I tell you that they will go down on what they're doing. But they are enjoying it. But there's nothing anybody can do about that now. What I'm saying is that
during the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan,
yes,
these same people who are complaining.
Which people?
I don't know. You know the people
I'm not
who are
going.
complaining.
No, wait. I'm just telling you. This is my
because
point.
you are talking about carrying things, which
No. It's just a personal opinion.
I know.
I don't. It's even difficult. Look,
but the show is on the
NTA,
other.
for instance,
Yes.
if NTA does not carry the story, they're going to abuse them. Somebody else will. But you can do it such a way that you can do analysis, proper analysis, set an agenda. The agenda should not be making this thing look right.
Well,
that's what I'm telling you.
It's for the purpose of agenda setting that we are gathered here. Hanatu.
Just to piggyback on what Madam Abike said,
Yes.
part of the problem, especially with the insecurity, is you're not just telling them, you're helping them spread their news, their ideal. The things that they do, we're giving them power. Sometimes, honestly, there has to be that regulation. Because sometimes
I don't think the issue is whether there should be regulation or not. It's what type of regulation is healthy for freedom.